Hey guys, Retro Reviews here again with another video review. This time I will be taking a look at the Master Grade MS-06S Zaku 2 Commander type, and this being Char Aznable's Zaku 2. This is the 2.0 version, and I will go ahead and take a look at it here. First things first, we'll start off by looking at some of the details, and we'll go in close with the head sculpt here. As you see, very nicely molded head sculpt. The hoses, the build on the hoses was very intricate. You had this little, almost a PVC kind of plastic, like a polycap plastic almost, inside hose that's actually pre-molded on. So you actually have to move each individual link of these hoses down that rung to get the look of those hoses, which is really nice end result, but a massive pain on the fingers. The mono eye, I've done a clear pink by using a Sharpie for the eye. And just like on the Johnny Ridden Zaku that I did a long while ago, it has the same feature where if you turn the head, the mono eye looks from side to side. And going down the body here, you can see some of the other details. We have some very nice decals on this kit. I really do like them. The big Principality of Zeon on the shoulder with how many warships Char has taken down. We do have the cockpit hatch here, which is evocative to how the cockpit hatch works in the original anime, which will just take... It gets a little... It's really difficult to use just your fingers, but you can kind of get enough grip to actually get it open. But if it will stay open, will also be a little bit of the issue here. And it's hard to see right now with my lighting, but there is a seat in there with Char positioned inside. There we go. You can see him now. Char's in there in his seat, and just like Johnny Ridden Zaku, just like all the other Zaku 2 version 2.0s, there is a switch on the back of the torso. So you just remove the backpack, and then there's this switch will slide the seat from side to side. But I'm not going to go ahead and do that because for some reason on my kit it is a very, very tough pain in the butt to get positioned back to where it's supposed to. Now, some of the other details that make this thing different from any other Zakus would be the thrusters around the back of the legs. The Zaku 2 J-type actually has, I think, none of these thrusters around the leg, but the F-type has this one and this one and this one all around there. Because the J-type is outfitted for ground combat, the F-type is outfitted for space combat, and the S-type can be used in both environments, as we've seen in the anime, and also with those extra thrusters makes Char the Red Comet 3 times faster in the anime. So there's that. We do have a nice A12 with C Aznable Principality of Zeon decal there. Another Principality of Zeon one there. A good mix of sticker and dry transfer decals. Don't overload the kit too much, but really make it look like a nice sturdy unit of war. And also, one more thing to note, for the build of these hoses on the legs, there is a polycap joint there and there that actually connect into a spring, and then each of these individual links are fed onto the spring. So there's a lot of little itty bitty parts that go into the build on this kit just to make sure that it has the exact look as it does in the anime. And since we've already looked over a Zaku before with Johnny Ridden's, as I've mentioned a couple times already, go ahead and share the comparisons between the two. As you can see, of course, the Crimson Lightning and the Red Comet. The Crimson Lightning is a much darker red. There's some black details instead of some burgundy. Char's red is almost a pink color, whereas Johnny Ridden's is straight up scarlet. And then also the shoulder pad on the original has a lot more subdued spikes, whereas the spikes on Johnny Ridden's are longer and they are multicolored. And then of course we get to the mobility aspect of it. We have a much bigger backpack on the high mobility type as opposed to the S type. And we have these massive thrusters on the high mobility type versus these little guys. So honestly, this suit does feel like it would be a pretty good upgrade for Char if he decided to keep with a Zaku, but we'll see later in some more of my reviews. And if you've seen the anime, he doesn't end up getting this type of Zaku. He gets a lot different mobile suits for different combat aspects. And go ahead and show him off here next to his rival, the White Devil, the RX-78-2. So as you can see, side by side, both of these 2.0 kits look exactly like they would in the anime. They got the colors down, they've got the proportions down. Everything just looks exactly the way it's supposed to. And yeah, they really nailed it with this 2.0. And just for some familiar size comparison with the people who usually watch my reviews for the Transformers, there he is with the Siege Voyager Optimus Prime. So he is roughly Voyager scale when it comes to in terms of like how tall this thing is. He's about 18.5 centimeters tall. The model kit, the mobile suit in the anime is 18 and a half meters tall, so it's about around that size. Posability, we saw before, the head actually has a swivel at the top of the head as well as a ball joint at the base of the neck, so it does allow for a little bit of movement side to side, like tilting side to side, forward, up and down, and then if we rotate it, it engages that swivel where the gear moves the eye side to side. The torso, we do have an integrated butterfly joint on the inside of the torso for the shoulder, which allows for bend just like that to move the arm forward. And then the arm itself is attached on a ball joint, which is also hinged. And then the shield is on a ball joint and several hinges to get out of the way. And you can bring the arm about that far forward. But with the shield, if you were to get the shield in the way, there's nothing really practical to use that for. The elbows here, we get a really nice double hinged elbow. That almost perfect 180 degree bend. Also forgot to mention there is a forearm swivel up there. And now it's just a matter of getting these joints moved back in the way they're supposed to. And for some reason mine got locked up. Okay, so that is jammed like that for right now. And we also have a ball joint up here at the forearm, and then a ball joint at the wrist. And then we have the 2.0 style hands, the same kind of hands that we saw on the Gundam 2.0. We do have a ball joint for the wrist that I've just mentioned already, and then we have this hinge here. And then each finger is attached with a ball joint, but these 3 fingers are connected still. So thumb is one single piece, and then each finger is 2 pieces, so we do have a ball joint and a hinge. And then these 3 are fused together, so ball joint and then hinge, hinge, hinge for the separate knuckles at the end. I really don't know how that got locked up like that, but I don't want to try to fix it and end up possibly breaking it, so give me a moment, I'll take care of that. Alright, so I got that joint fixed. I don't know what happened exactly, because I was actually, before I started shooting the review, I did test all the joints to make sure how everything worked and everything, but somehow the pistons that are on the inside of the elbow, that one got jammed. So, yep, always something has to go wrong when you're trying to shoot for a review. But anyways, waist, you can see it is on a ball joint. We get some limited side-to-side movement up and down, just due to the way the hip skirts lie. The thrusters back here are on hinges, as well as ball joints for the individual thrusters and a hinge for the flap. And then each of these flaps on the skirt armor are attached with a ball joint, as well as a side-to-side hinge for these side ones, and then double hinge and ball joint system for this back one. Hips are on a swivel there, so once you get everything moved out of the way, it can kick up that far and kick back about that far. The joint is actually centered at the far front of the thigh joint, so you also get some rotation at the joint there, and some more rotation at this joint here. And then knees, we get a nice double bend out of the knee, and like I mentioned, the with that spring for that hose on the leg, that does allow it to be very flexible and not hinder movement when it comes to bending the knees. And then we've got a very messy system of joints for the foot. There is like all these joints. There's like 3 joints in the ankle to allow for side-to-side tilt, up and down tilt, and rotate. And then also when you rotate, you can see it does kind of move this piece side to side as well. And then also get some toe bend out of there. The toe can bend about that far. So, all things considered, the Zaku 2 Commander type actually does have a little bit more posability than the high mobility type, just due to some of the armor that gets in the way of the high mobility type versus the Commander type. So, He can get into pretty much any pose you think a Zaku should be able to get into. That's basically the gist of his posability. Now, accessories. We do have quite a bit of decent accessories here. We're going to go ahead and start off with the machine gun for the standard equipment machine gun for the Zaku. This has pegs in either hand, or either side of the handle, and that will work for either hand. And that will work by bringing the arm around. It kind of helps to get that shoulder or the upper arm or bicep swivel in play. Once you do, since that stock is very awkward, and once you get that situated, then it's just a matter of lining up the peg with the peg in the hand with the hole in the handle, and then wrapping the fingers around the handle, getting the scope up, and losing the grip on the handle again while you're trying to pose it for a review. And then just taking the other hand and trying to get it lined up before he drops it. There. So now he's got the machine gun in his hands, holding it up, ready to shoot down the Gundam with it. Looks pretty nice. And you could go ahead and remove that. And there is a spot on the skirt armor for the ammo pack, and that will clip in just right here, just like that. Next accessory we'll take a look at is the bazooka. This is the standard issue 280mm Zaku bazooka. Doesn't come with any of the additional parts to switch it out to the Hyper Bazooka like the High Mobility type does. But just like High Mobility type, we do have two peg holes in the handle for the Zaku to hold. And if you get it in the second handle, or the bottom one, it does make it easier for him to put it over his shoulder, like so. Otherwise, the top one would kind of be used to put it underneath his shoulder for shouldering it. And then also the cap on the lens can swing open. Just like so. So you can have the scope to look down while he's using the bazooka. Which for some reason that joint on mine is really loose. And then if you want to, you can get the foregrip incorporated into the posability with this as well. So it can look something like that before it starts falling apart. Now, go ahead and close that back up, kind of set it down, kind of put the handle down. And the way this would store on the back is you take this latch and fold it down. I just want to double check, make sure I didn't forget that this can actually hook onto... Nope, it cannot. Okay. So I don't think there's any way to actually hook the Zaku machine gun up to the back, up to the skirt armor, but there is for the bazooka. There is a little ridge on the inside of this piece, and that's going to fit into this section right here. And that just rests in like that, and actually locks it in really nice and tight. It's not going anywhere. Let's go ahead and remove that, get those thrusters positioned back the way they're supposed to. And now for the next weapon, we'll take a look at the Heat Hawk. As you can see here, it is cast entirely gray. In order to get the Heat Hawk animation accurate, you would have to paint all of this purple with the blade of the Heat Hawk yellow. And we also do get a connector piece for that to go onto the Heat Hawk as well. And that will connect on to either side of the side skirt. It'll look like that, or take that off and remove that. And then, as you see, holes in either side. And we can get the Heat Hawk in his hand. So Char can get up close and personal to any other mobile suits that get in his way. Okay. And now we'll go ahead and take a look at the next accessory I want to take a look at here. That being the... there is some alternate headpieces that come with this kit. You do get a flat helmet top. As you can see here, there's no hole in the front for a commander antenna. You can also take this commander antenna off and replace it with this one, which has a little bit more ridges on it and makes it look a little bit more industrial. And it looks like that. This is actually the commander antenna that I like to have attached to Johnny Ridden's Zaku, and I'll keep this one attached to Char's Zaku, just to differentiate the two, and also to make this one look more animation accurate. Now, we also get the obligatory 1:100 scale figurine of Char, cast entirely in the reddish pink plastic that makes up the majority of the Zaku. And we also get this little cart. Now each of these wheels is molded separately, but actually put in there so tightly that I can barely rotate the wheels. And then this piece actually can come off for various display purposes. But this cart actually functions as a scissor lift of sorts. So you can actually bring that up to the cockpit hatch of any mobile suit. And if you're very careful with some of these pilots, because they don't have the flat panels on their feet, you can get them to look like they're boarding their mobile suit. But I can't with that one because Char doesn't have any base on his feet. So And then finally, you do get an action stand adapter. Now, this action stand adapter is pretty standard on adapters. The way you use it is a little bit different. There is this piece right here. If you were to flip some of the skirt armor out of the way, take this piece, fold it back, and that fully exposes the place where the action base adapter will connect in. And then if we bring in an action base here, I'm just going to take my clear one that I wanted to use for some transformer displays, but the 3mm hole is either too tight or too loose on transformers for it, so it won't work. But you'll just take standard action base here and then lock the Zaku up there on an action base. And now you can get him in a lot of different poses. A lot of aerial poses now. So that just about does it for my review on Char's Zaku 2 version 2.0. This is a very nice kit, a very fun one to do. I've already mentioned before with Johnny Riddens how much I love the Zaku build, and honestly at this point of shooting I've built a total of 4 Zakus sharing the 2.0 build style. So we'll take a look at those later on down the line as we progress through the kits that I've built. And just for what the what Char Zaku attempts to accomplish, it does it really well. There's very little in terms of, there's like no extra work that needs to be done outside of the straight build. If you're like me and like the actual clear look of the mono eye, then you'll just need a Sharpie, and then you'll need some panel lining detail markers and some know-how on to put dry transfer and regular sticker decals on. But other than that, very entry-level build. And everything that the Johnny Ridden Zaku can do, this one can do as well. I still prefer this one better for a number of reasons. One of them just being because it was actually featured in the anime. But also, just like the character more. The color looks great. I think this is actually between the Gelgoog 2.0 and the Zaku 2.0. These are the only times this actual color of like almost pink is used for the red on the Red Comet's mobile suit. I know for a fact the Zagak actually has a darker hue, and I don't know about the 1.0s of his mobile suits because I've never built them. But that's the other thing, is if you have this one, you probably don't need to build the 1.0 unless you just really, really like building some of the older kits. But that being said, definitely a great kit, a must pick up if you can find it for a great price. I think I spent maybe about $45–50 on this back when I got it. It's been quite some time since I built this, so I don't remember the exact price I got it for, but that just about does it. There's nothing really else to say about this kit except for definitely a fun pickup. Definitely recommend. So anyways, it's been Ratchet Reviews, taking a look at this Gundam kit. If you liked it, please let me know. Leave a comment. thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.